doesn't matter much. You can directly go and talk to anybody anytime. And most of the people there are people who are involved with all this cutting edge technology, specifications that come out, they work with that. So it's a good place to be in. It just being in there. It doesn't matter what position you're in. And you get all the exposure. So yeah, .com is a good place to be in. Deepu, you wanted to tell something in between?
No, you can continue.
Okay, okay. I think that should be good enough about what Broadcom basically does and what Broadcom is. General things that I have followed when I attended an interview or when I take an interview in Broadcom are a few things that I usually notice, right? I can help you with that. It's a general thing, irrespective of Broadcom or any other semiconductor industry, any other companies in the semiconductor industry, right? I have seen this is the kind of philosophy most of them follow, where see, you have to look at, when you attend an interview, you have to look at what, because you have to look at what is it that the interviewer are looking at, right? Or when you are writing the test, what is it that the person who has put this test is trying to evaluate? Like in when you did your engineering, right? Unlike when you were doing your 10th or 12th, where when you are given an essay in English, you have to write it in English, right? The whole description. Engineering, that whole ball game changes. What you basically do is, even if you are not able to write it in English or anything, right? What the person who has put the evaluating the exam basically looks at is whether you understood the principle, whether you know the answer to that question. So it doesn't matter whether you write the whole thing in an essay or you just draw a few diagrams and followed by a description of the diagram and 2 lines on how it works. That will give you a mark. You don't have to specify. It's the same attitude that works when we go for an interview. You are basically looking at, is the candidate, or does the candidate understand what he needs to know to apply for this job? Okay, what will be the basic needs? Like in this case, I think C is a basic requirement, right? So you need to know the basics of C. Okay, it's not that you need to know all that complicated pointer to pointer and so and so and so stuff, right? All those big complicated stuffs. You need to understand basics of C. Okay, you need to have the correct attitude to solve a problem. So let's start with the written test. Okay, let's take, you have an objective question. So it's a hit or a miss. This is what we usually have been taught in schools, right? You tick or don't tick, or you tick the wrong one, so you missed it. It's either a 0 or a 1. But then whoever has put that objective, right, also has this, there are many other things to objective, right? When you did your engineering, your engineering entrance, you were basically told about, see, what you have is a 25, if you have 4 objective points, you have 25% chance. So that is another input you could get or not get. That's a 25% probability if you do a random. Right? So all this kind of statistics and all that, right? When you start evaluating, what you basically need to convey is, even if you can't find out the answer, you just write a one-liner on how it can be solved. But you couldn't solve it, or you did some silly mistake because of which you couldn't find out exactly which value. Or if you believe this is the right value, put it there. Nothing going wrong. There's nothing wrong with it. The person who's going to evaluate will read it. Okay. That's one thing. So it's never a hit or a miss. Whatever you know, write it over there. Okay. Another thing that I've appreciated people do is, see, even say you have a question, right? Like write a C program to find if a particular name is there in a database. Now there are 2 entities to this, right? One is your C skills, okay? The second is the algorithm. Now the thing is, you could be a good in one of those, or let's take C, right? C, I think, I am not sure which semester you guys learn in, right? and how much you use it regularly. Maybe you're not using it. Say you learned it in your third semester or something like that, right? And today you don't remember it exactly. So what do? Now, if you put a lot of effort in trying to make the C syntax correctly, right? It doesn't add much value to it. So, see, if you don't remember C at all, you remember only a little bit. First one liner, which basically says, it's 2 years since I have touched C syntax or C programming, or it's like I have limited knowledge on C programming, but I will try to write using a pseudocode. Okay. Now you know C has a hash include to include some libraries, right? So you just say include basic required libraries. Then if you know main, and so what you gain here is that whoever is going to correct first itself knows that syntax I shouldn't be worrying about, because he's already told he doesn't know the syntax correctly. So, and then you write the algorithm. See, end of the day, what we look at, or what any person who wants to evaluate a candidate looks at, is whether he has the right attitude to solve a problem, right? So that is why when we conduct interview, whatever interviews I have conducted usually have only two steps. One is check whether his resume fit whatever is told in his resume is correct, and he knows it. Basic half an hour question answer will solve that, will make it clear. Okay. The next part is actually trying out real life problems, riddles, simple system problems which anybody could know, but then keep making it complicated. What do you gain out of it? You actually come to know whether the person has the right attitude to solve problems. Okay. Given a situation, will he keep finding solutions? Sometimes even I don't know what the solution would be, but I would still have a question, right? And then see how he answers. So what I'm finally coming to is, whether it's your written test or your interview, right? Face-to-face interview, answer only, the final answer has only very limited value. It has a value. It's like that last 10 mark that you get with just one number or one sentence, you will get that last 10 mark. But that 90%, 90 marks out of it is usually on the approach that you take. Sometimes you won't even get the answers. That's okay. Not many are bothered about exact correct answers, right? So yeah, so that should be your attitude. And trust me, every guy is equal at this point. Okay, nobody looks at which school or which college you studied, where you came from, because that matters only to that first extent where you could get. See, if you are from IIT, you get a better opportunity for your resume to be shortlisted. That's it. Beyond that, it's the same field. Okay, everybody is treated equally. So don't worry about that. Everybody has equal opportunity. Don't think that you are in any way less capable and all that. It's basic understanding of what you have studied, and then your confidence level. It doesn't matter if you don't know the answer or not. What matters is what is your attitude towards solving that problem. Whether it's your written test that you're looking at, put it in a paper. If it's an interview, when you're talking, talk. Okay, just talk what is going on in your head. Don't be silent. Okay, that creates a very uncomfortable situation where the interviewer doesn't know whether what he is talking, what he is thinking, and for you also it's a very uncomfortable situation where there's a lot of silence, right? And you are on the other side where you could be more stressed, and getting stressed or tense doesn't help. So talk. There's no right or wrong to it. Okay? If you're wrong, they will help. They will tell you. They will put a few more questions. Yeah. Even if you're right, they can ask you why, so on. So yeah, don't worry about such things. Be confident. Write and tell whatever you know. Okay. It will not be that you have to find the correct answer. That has only a very small percentage. value to it. That final right answer. It's always the approach. Rest, I think you guys should be fine. This you might have already used in all your exams as of now. I think 2:30 is your exam starts, right? So have your, okay, one important thing, because it's all online now, right? And with all this network issues, setup issues, you need to be comfortable in your position. If it's interview, be at that place, relax for some time, and usually interviewers give you casual questions initially to make you comfortable. Now, because it's going to be online, what I would recommend all of you is today itself, set up your interview setup. Okay, have the laptop in place, have the camera and everything, so that you are very comfortable in that position. Do your studies there. Try to write a mock exam just to make sure that you are comfortable with that ecosystem, so that your that one stress is out of the picture. Okay. Similarly, any unwanted stresses, right? Make sure networks are fine, all that. Camera is working. Okay. Second thing, uh, say you have your exam at 2:30. I think this you would have done for your school days and all that. Where go for have your lunch at 12. Don't go in for an exam with a heavy stomach. Okay. Worst case, if you are hungry, go for eating. Have a fruit or something at around 1:30. Freshen up, relax. Two, stop studying. Okay. Don't stress your up. Don't go for more and more questions. Just relax. You're good. You're great. You can handle this. Okay. This is the attitude. Jump up. Raise your hands. Okay. Say I'm good. Okay. Do that. And and do, if there are other things like listening music, drawing, whatever you like, right? Just relax. 2:30. 5 or 10 minutes before, try to log in, be in there, make yourself relaxed, and then start the exam. Okay, I think that should be best doable. See, rest technical skills, all that, right? It will depend. There's a little bit of luck on whether that question came, like the Viva that we have attended, right? We sometimes get the right question and you get a good mark. Sometimes you don't get the right question and you get a little bit good mark, but if you had the right impression with the teacher, teacher understands that, okay, it just he got the wrong question, so I can adjust the marks, right? So that kind of approach. Relax, do your best, okay? Akhil, you want to pitch in and give something about how WCC I am not sure how it works in WCC, but this is the general what I've seen with Broadcom.
Yeah, you are. I mean, you are thorough with almost all the things. I mean, even though I'd like to pitch in few things. One is actually I have not conducted any interviews per se, but I have attended many of them, and what I felt and my successful interviews actually uh, through those, I what I understood is even if you, as you mentioned, even if you don't know the answer, they are just trying to find whether you are actually trying to solve that problem. How how interested are you in that problem? How what are the techniques that you are by which you are trying to actually solve this? It's not about the final thing. It's let it be wrong or right. It has actually less significance. The main significance is on the effort that you are putting in that particular problem. Say, for an example, keep yourself curious to things. Say, suppose if you are asked a question which you don't know the answer to, try to think in your logical sense. Okay, how that might actually work, or how with your current knowledge itself, okay, how that can come into the picture. Say, suppose, just an example, if you are asked to write a random number, right? I mean, a program which will generate a random number between a set of numbers. Say, suppose if I don't know how actually to do so, the first thought actually will come to me is how a random number works, right? I mean, how can it be a randomized way? It can be in many ways. Suppose rolling a dice, right? Out of 1 to 6, you can actually get any number between that. That is also kind of a random, right? So What if you actually like increase that number set? You got a random number, right? This is not an actual solution, but the way you think, the method in which you approach the problem, and the different views, right? I mean, a particular problem can have n number of solution, and maybe like one or two might be the efficient solution. But when in an interview, it's not about the efficient solution unless and until it is a, like a critical high level job. But generally, like in this case, it will be more like how you are approaching that problem, how you are trying to find out the things with whatever you know. That is what matters. Rather than actually like if you don't know the algorithms or whatever, see, or you don't know about that topic also, to an extent you definitely need to know something. I agree on that, but the way you approach those, right? How curious are you to that problem? How much you want to actually like solve that problem? What is the effort that you are putting in? That is what it all matters at the end. And one thing is, one advice actually like I have is like, keep yourself curious. When you see something or when you hear about anything, be curious as to how that happens. Okay, not just say for an example, I have heard one of my colleagues who took an interview, asked the candidate a question. So if you are plugging in Ethernet cable or you are connecting to Wi-Fi, how it is actually like connecting to internet, how it is getting some IP address, you are getting some IP address. So this is the responses he got for that particular question was actually like too funny. I mean, from different people. But what he actually mentioned to me was, he was actually looking how people are thinking in that way, even if they don't know actually like what the process is happening in the background. They actually like try to find out, figure out. As Shijit mentioned, the interview is actually like, I mean, not a single person show, right? Not a one man show. It has to be actually like communicative. You have to actually like interact with the interviewer. You have to, if you know, if you are weak in particular things, and he is all out of questions, you can actually like pitch in. Okay, I'm actually like, I mean, I'm knowledgeful in this particular one. You can actually like, because from your resume, it's so little that that an interviewer can get. You will have more knowledge in different things. So at any point, if you feel like the interview is actually like slowing down, you can always actually like take the initiative to keep him more informed about the things that you know. But one thing here is like, you should not be all chit chatty about all the things which you know. But I would rather suggest, don't make the interview a silent one. Usually, like as Shijit mentioned, most what happens is like, usually it's a one-man show. The interviewer asks a question. It's like a Viva session. You ask the question, and the other person does not know the answer. They just keep silent. Okay, you, if you don't know the answer, you can actually like try, from whatever knowledge you have, you try to find out. Okay, I think in this way, I don't know the answer, but I think it will be in this way. You can give suggestions. So the all the points or all the emphasis is mostly on how you are thinking about the problem, how you are trying to find a way to the solution. At this point, like in a fresher phase, mostly the interviewer is looking into that. And another thing that interviewer is looking out for is like, when taking anyone, any person for a job position, is like, uh, it's not only a job. He has to actually like interact and work and stay. It's like a second, I mean, kind of like a second family, where you have to actually like spend time and work together. So a compatibility with the candidate, like how he's thinking, whether they are on the same page, right? I mean, on towards the thinking, and whether the attitude of that person is actually matching that of the culture or that of the work that is being going to be done. How his attitude towards a problem solving is there. So all these things are what matters in an interview. So that's what I would like to add in. Yeah, that's it.
Yes, as they both said, don't hesitate to ask questions or clear your doubts. That's what I want to add now. So I think it's time to ask questions from the student side. So please interact with both. It's your turn now. Then later they will add. The complete silence. This is what they are mentioning. Here comes the attitude.
Yeah, Deepu, you have very smart students.
Yeah, but smarter, more smarter, they will become more silent.
Yeah, I know the feeling. I mean, it could be like okay, people are talking. If what I ask will be, I mean, foolish question, as I mentioned earlier, a dumb question. That might be the things that will be going through.
I think
But I mean,
I think if we switch the language, they will come up. ഓ അങ്ങനെ ഒരു പ്രശ്നമുണ്ടോ?
I don't think, see, language is another emphasis that goes in, right? Nobody is worried about whether you are grammatically correct. The only thing that we worry about is whether you can communicate.
Yes.
So if you look at, huh?
Idea convey
Yeah, so that's it. So if you know the keywords that needs to be used, just use it. There is no is, was, and all that. If you replace
even with the diagram, we can express our ideas.
So
yeah, so there are a lot of things.
I think someone is speaking up. Speaking up. I think Jaren
Yes,
is
Jaren
asking
sir.
some.
Yes, Jaren sir.
So, actually, I am from EC department, and I would like to know how much programming should I know to get placed in, not just in Broadcom, in any drives, because that is the one problem that we are facing, EC students are facing. So you said about knowing basics, so I just want to know how much we should know in programming.
Okay, my basic experience, right? When I came out of EC, I knew basic C programming. I could write a C programming, get it compiled and running. That's it. You don't need. See, how are they going to evaluate your programming skill, right? First of all, they are not going expecting you to write a C program on a paper, and that too which is syntactically correct. I can't do that. Even today, I can't do that. Okay? I need that compiler to cross check whether it is right or wrong. It is understanding what C is, what C++ is. If your interest is in the programming side, right, then you try C. C is like what? If you're working for a call center job which is supposed to cater to English-speaking population, you need to know English, right? Similarly, if you want to be in an engineering job, core engineering job, C I think is required. It's this way or that way, which it changes slightly, but C helps. C helps a lot. Most of our models, simulation models, all that, right, are written in C with some scripting on top of it. So when you ask how much should you know, you should know the very basic of C. Now, do you need to know very deep? I don't think you need to know. And if it is core, I don't think even you need to know it very well. Okay, very very basic is good enough. Because end of the day, when you get recruited, it's not that the day one you're asked to program, you are not given the C code where you write it completely, right? It's over time. So yeah, basic, very very basic. I think whatever has been taught in your syllabus should be good enough. Does that answer your question, Jaren?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That answers my question. And of course, I do have one more question that is not technical. Can I ask that?
Yeah, sure. Akhil, just a minute. Akhil, you can also pitch in anytime, Akhil.
Yeah, yeah, sure. I mean, I agree with what you have meant. So, the basic knowledge only is, the interviewer is looking at this point when you're actually like going for a fresher, as a fresher. But if you actually like wish to answer, I mean, if I have to actually like answer to that exact question, how much knowledge do you require for cracking a job? That's something which cannot be answered completely. Whatever, how much knowledge you have, it's better. So uh, try to first be good at your basics things. Then you can actually like increase your knowledge on that. So maybe we can use this. I mean, websites called Hacker Rank, Hacker Earth, and all, where you can actually like practice your skills, and you can actually like interact with other programmers, read their codes also. And this is one of the things you need to do when you are coding or programming. Try to learn and try to actually like read through other people's code also, so that will give you an insight more on okay, what are the different approaches to the problem. That is one thing I felt have helped me. To start with, you first ensure that your basics are good. So websites like HackerRank and Hacker can actually like help on that. And in order to actually like advance more, those sites itself are providing you the basic questions, or like how you can proceed into the next levels and everything. So that is one thing you can do to be good at any programming language, or anything for that matter.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you. Okay, my second question is about self-introduction in an interview. Let's say that we get past this aptitude test and we move on to the interview, and first question will be about self-introduction. I think so. How, what should we actually do there? There's a lot of confusion in that also among students. So, can you please clear that out also?
Okay, I don't think that is a very important part. You can basically introduce yourself and a little bit of what else is there? Since it's a fresher, you college you come from, but yeah, don't make it a very formal one, right? If they already know the college you come from, you can okay, you can talk. You can give a one-liner about where you were born, brought up. That's it. School and colleges anyway would be in the resume. One line around that, and that's it. I'm not sure whether it has changed dramatically from the time. I think Akhil can give a more informative one on what is the latest ones.
Yeah. So basically, like the self introduction is a really personal one. It people the styles will be different for everyone. So one example I can actually like give, if I'm going to be introducing myself, I would actually like go with my name. Since I'm not a fresher, I will actually like explain the job I was actually like doing, what all the responsibilities and what all the skills that I am actually like. I mean, what I have, which I can actually like give into the organization. So probably like for a fresher, I think you can mention your current, what course you are studying, and your major achievements. So suppose if you have actually like skills in specific things, like say suppose on top of the academics, you are actually like working on something, Python, or some other fields, right? Something which is technically good. Better to not go in depth with things like your family and all, because people are not actually like interested in your. I mean, what I understood is like people are not interested in your family things, unless and until it's a chit chat, right? So one thing is like they are interested to know how you are as a person, as an in a profession. Okay, how you are professionally. So you can go with your name, the current degree you are working on, and you can actually tell in more things you have worked on. Maybe you might have worked on Python, or maybe you attended some seminars on, like, say, something related to electronics or something like that. So what ideally it is to just have a brief introduction, right? I mean, he doesn't know about you, so when we meet, how you would introduce yourself, right? How what skill sets you have, so you can just throw those things in like a one liner or something. So that would be a good thing, I think.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Also, you can make in your mini project and seminar topics to the interviewer to make him impress. So that topics will be more interesting for you also. So, and the interviewer also can be eager to know about that and how involved in your project or seminar. So that way you can they can assess you on the academy. More questions, please.
Hello, sir.
Vishnu
Um,
Mohan, yes, please.
sir, am I audible? Sir, am I audible?
Yes, Vishnu.
Okay. First of all, nice to meet you, sir. So, my question is like, what do you think is the most important skill that Broadcom is looking for freshers? Like, are they specifically looking for something like, as you mentioned, a semiconductor area expert, or like assembly language, or like C programming? So, what do you think is that one skill that would be an advantage for the freshers?
I think Akhil has also mentioned this. Sabai, it's basically your attitude to solve problems. Whether you have the right attitude, given a problem, what is your approach to solving it? This I know for definite in my business unit, and many of the business unit in Broadcom, we just look at it because what we work on, right, is not a set of skills that is already existing in the market. In many of this situation is where you are given a problem, how do you solve it? Other than that is just your basic skills, how you did your, whether you have the right attitude. Other than that, C programming is one thing that I can tell as a skill. Your basic understanding of electronics. What else? I think when I do this, these are the few things. This is C, your understanding of your subject. It's always the basic, the core, right? That you understand. It may not be everything. It is, say, if I'm interviewing and I usually give the option to the candidate as to pick a subject that you are really passionate about or interested about. It can be anything, right? Any subject you have learned. Okay. And then you start asking questions on that. So when the approach usually that we take is whether you have the aptitude and the attitude to solve a problem. It doesn't matter how difficult it is, right? You keep asking. So another important thing that you can always do is, if you're not very clear about the question, right, or you need more information on it, feel free to ask the question. Okay. So that is another thing, right? You're defining the problem as one thing that you do. Then you start solving the problem, where again you ask questions. So we are looking at people who have this, and like Akhil had correctly mentioned, right? It is, you are being added into a team. So there is a general, whether you have the correct attitude to be part of the team. And this has nothing to do with, it's basically like finding a match, right? It is not very specific to you. It is also part of the team. The team basically has a method, the way they think, the way they do. So if you're a good team player is another aspect that we look at. And yeah, it's slightly vague, but yeah, that kind of conveys thing. Akhil, you want to add?
Yeah, I just want to add one more perspective to this. One thing is like, uh, don't think of just trying to crack one interview alone. So that is like, if you're trying it that way, basically like, you are trying to match up to the requirements of one particular job, and